Good morning, boys and girls. So what we're going to do today is, because it's Monday, we're going to look at our new phonics sounds, and you can have a look at these words in your phonics and homework book on page 35, or you can just watch on the screen, and then I'll go through all of the sounds and the meanings, and then we can look at your book together. Right, so the same as last week. The week before, I told you that we had a sound at the end. So two letters together, making one sound. We don't say k, we say k, is a sausage sound. So that was at the end of the word. Then last week, we did words with sausage sounds at the beginning, so like brag and so on. And then the word came here, or brat. And we had crib and crab and so on. So now we've got 4 new beginning sausage sounds this week that you are going to learn. So we've got f and r, which makes fr, g and r, which makes gr, t and r, which makes tr. That one's quite tricky to say, tr. And p and r, which makes pr. So remember last week I said p sounds, you say it on their own. So you don't say f, r, og, f, r, og. I saw a f, r, og. No, we say this together. So that is our sausage sound. So we say frog. And then it's fr, og, frog. Okay, read it with me. Frog, frog. Right? From. Then grr, our sausage. Grin. Grab, grab. Trip, trip, trip. Uh-oh. Here we have another sausage sound. So, truck, truck. Trap, trap. Pram. So now if you come across these words in one of your reading books, this is how you can sound them out. You can't do this with your sight words. Those you need to know. I remember our sense of sight is when we look at something, it's our eyes. So when we see a sight word, like very, we need to know that as one word. We cannot go we'll never get to very. So you need to know those words, and I hope you've been practicing them. You need to know them very well, that they stick in your mind, and that when you come across them in reading, you know them as one word that you don't need to sound out. But I have shown you how to sound out these words with new sausage sounds. And then if you come across these and you maybe forget how to do it, if you remember how to sound out properly, you will get to the word. So this is all to help you become super, super good readers. Okay, so let's start again at the beginning. And let's read each word. I'll read it, and then I'll give you a little chance to read it as well. Frog, from, grin, grab, trip, truck, trap, pram. Right, now let's have a look at what they mean. I'm sure you all know what a frog is. And there's a lovely story called The Frog Prince, of where a wicked witch, those of you who don't know, a wicked witch turned a prince into a frog, and she said the spell would only be broken if he could get a princess to kiss him as a frog. So that was quite a hard job, but he got it right. And maybe you can see if you can listen to that story someday. The children who were in grade R last year, we had a company of actors come, and they were called On Cue Theatre, and they did a lovely story that they acted out of the Frog Prince. So I'm not sure how many of you remember that, but those of you who don't know the story, maybe you can find out about it. Then from. Who did you get that jersey from? Or where does that come from? Grin. Sometimes when people are being silly, then they have a silly grin on their face. It's almost like a smile, but a smile is something happy and something good, that when we see something that makes us feel really good inside, we have a lovely smile on our face. A grin is like a smile, but it's not as happy as a smile, and sometimes it can be a little bit silly. If you, somebody might say, take that grin off your face if they are angry with you, because you maybe are grinning because they tripped or something happened. So a grin's not exactly the same as a smile, but if you have a grin on your face, it is maybe half a smile. Then grab. If you grab something, you normally snatch it out of somebody's hand. And I would say from last week's explanations that a brat would grab a toy out of somebody else's hands. So grabbing something is not a very nice thing to do. Then the word trip. Now, like two, and two that I explained last week, trip also has two meanings, but it is spelt the same. So trip, if you go on a trip, it means that you can go on a holiday. So if you say, I'm going on a trip to Durban, it could be like saying, I'm going on a holiday to Durban. But the other trip, I think you all know, is if you fall over your shoelaces, or as you're walking up the stairs, you trip. It means you stumble, you fall. Right, so there are two meanings there. Then truck. All right, we all know that trucks carry big loads, and it's not really fun in the traffic to be stuck behind a truck, especially if you're trying to go on a lovely trip, or you're stuck in the traffic, which is also another true word. Then trap. And here's another true word. Trap is where somebody tricks you and you get trapped, where you can't get out of something. So we normally use this word as where a poacher, that is somebody who tries to catch animals, and then very sadly sometimes they shoot them and then they sell them for lots of money for people to use horns and the skins of the animals and so on. And that is how we have lost so many of our beautiful animals, and There are lots of people in South Africa trying to fight the law to get onto their side of the animals, that they can really have heavy fines or heavy punishments for poachers, for people who trap animals and who poach them and then kill them for money. So if you make a trap, like a mouse trap, where you put a little bit of cheese in, and then the mouse goes and eats the cheese, then snap, he's caught in the trap. So if you're trapped, it means you can't get out. Right. And then the last word is pram. So last week we had the word crib, and I said that's a little baby's bed that could rock. But this week we've got pram. So that's also used for little children to sit in or to lie in to sleep, and then the mom or the dad can just put the pram on wheels and maybe can sing a song and the baby can go to sleep. Or maybe if you're going somewhere, let's say you're going on a trip to the zoo, then you put the baby in the pram and then you can push the baby around or the toddler around, that they don't get tired and start moaning while you are looking at all the lovely animals at the zoo. Right, so those are our words for this week, and you're going to practice writing them, and then let's see if you can write them without looking at them by Friday when you do your little test.